Folks, I told you months ago that 2025 was probably, we're going to see it happen this year, I think, maybe 26. But within the next year or two, I said, we are going to see Netflix, dollar for dollar, be more profitable than Disney on half the income. We're pretty much almost there right now.
Renegade Online.
I just want to mention this. So they were up about 1%. Now they're down about 1% in pre-market trading. I also want to point out the market cap here, $204 million as of the last calculation. That's right here. Market cap, $204 billion. Okay. And then let's go over here. Just to remind folks what I'm talking about. Netflix, by the way, peaked over $1,000 a share yesterday, and Netflix is worth $425 billion. They're more than double Disney. The Walt Disney Company has streaming. They have linear broadcast, meaning they have ABC, they have ESPN. Disney basically owns most of college sports. They own about a third worth of professional sports in terms of television broadcasting. They have cruise ships. They have $100+ billion worth of real property, meaning the land in Florida, in California, around the globe that they actually own, and all the theme park assets that are in it. Probably billions more in IPs, at least for the ones that they haven't run down. All Netflix has is streaming. That's it. Netflix has, they don't have any real property to speak of. And then they have an office building, okay? They have a headquarters, but they don't have anything. Disney has a full Hollywood theatrical studio system. Netflix has streaming. And what did Netflix do on streaming last quarter? Well, Netflix did about $2 billion+ in operating income just on streaming alone. And if you look at their profit margin at Netflix, it's approaching 30% on streaming. And we're talking about big numbers. Netflix pulls in roughly half the annual revenue that Disney does, or a little less than half. And it's pulling in some huge operating income that on a ratioed basis would make Disney pretty jealous, I think.
How many Star Wars shows are on Netflix, though, Valiant?
None, and that's why Netflix is successful. So, yeah, that's basically what it is.
For those of you not following the Luminate reports, one single episode of Landman on Paramount Plus outperforms an entire season of a Star Wars show right now.
Yes, it does. Skeleton Crew specifically.
All of them, like even Acolyte, even the biggest ones this year, were outperformed by single episodes of Landman. I mean, they got trounced.
Yeah. Well, that's about, Landman was pulling about 2 billion minutes at its peak in viewership, according to Luminate. Yeah, and if you added up every week of, I thought the Acolyte got a little bit more in cumulative.
I think 2.7 billion watch minutes.
And so a little bit more. But again, it's comparable, like the entire season of The Acolyte. So 2.7 billion watch minutes. One episode of Landman, 2.1, 2.2, I think, at its peak.
Yeah, and the animated Star Wars beat Skeleton Crew, by the way.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yes, mostly for Mike's mental health. So here we are right now. Things have kind of reversed course. Now, I want to let everybody know, just to say, they're up 1.84. They were up, then they were down during the call. Now they're up again. Immediately, when Netflix released their numbers, and during their earnings call that they do live from YouTube, their after-hours trading was up over 10%.
Yeah.
That's
what Fubo's at right now, by the way.
Instant, right? Yeah, exactly. We'll talk about that deal. But so just to kind of give you an idea of where we are right now, just the reaction to that call. That's not go get it, or go sell it. We're not doing that here. We're just saying this is what the current reaction is. It's a mere statement of fact. Now I hate the way this screen does this. I've got to manually expand this because it's in an Excel spreadsheet. This is how Netflix drops their earnings reports. This is what they give you. When you go to the Netflix website and you download the earnings report, it is this. It is an Excel spreadsheet. So what I wanted to do is I want to show people what we're talking about here. Now,
I want you to look at this, okay? What you got right here, 12 months ended. Mike, you'll like this. 12 months ended, $39 billion in total revenue for Netflix, with $10.417 billion in, I'm pretty sure that's our OI. Yes, that's our OI. $10.417 billion in operating income. If you look down here, $8.7 billion right here is their net income. It's another measure of profitability. But let's just stick with OI because that's what everybody likes to use. Okay, that's what they talk about on earnings calls. Operating income. Look at the operating income for Netflix in 2022, $5.6 billion. In 2023, $6.9 billion. In 2024, $10.4 billion in operating income off of $39 billion. Netflix is making more money, but more importantly, they're also becoming far more efficient. Their profit margins have exploded. They're basically at a 25%, over 25% profit margin for all of Netflix for the entire year, okay? I want everybody to remember that for a second. Now, if we look at Disney, and this is what Mike...
I've got their revenue figures up if you want them.
Well, I got them right here. I got them right here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about DTC, the whole company, because again, we're talking about a whole company here. Now, if you want to do DTC too, that's fine. But for the whole company, as of the close of their fiscal year, which is 9/30/2024, okay, Netflix closes December 31st. $91 billion in total revenue, so more than double, more than 2 times what Netflix does, right? Operating income, $11.9 billion. What was Netflix's operating income?
39 billion?
10.4.
10.4.
So operating income, right? Total revenue for Disney, $91 billion. Total revenue for Netflix, $39 billion. Operating income for Disney off of $91 billion was 11.9. Operating income for Netflix off of $39 billion was 10.4. Folks, I told you months ago that 2025 was probably, we're going to see it happen this year, I think, maybe 26. But within the next year or two, I said, we are going to see Netflix, dollar for dollar, be more profitable than Disney on half the income. We're pretty much almost there right now. I told y'all this was coming. And this is why Netflix is worth more than twice as much as Disney. And yet Disney owns $100+ billion of real property and theme parks, intellectual properties, cruise ships, maybe $150 billion worth. I don't know what all that stuff is worth. They just closed, a $500 million piece of property in Galaxy's Edge, a hotel that failed. It's incredible to me.
Being that I'm just a country accountant and I don't understand your yip-yappity ways down there in New Orleans. What Valiant's getting at is that you have a company like Netflix that not only is worth more, not only makes more profit with comparable revenues, which it still smokes Disney on, but it makes more money, yet you have a company like Disney that's got infinite more assets and advantages, whether that be real estate, parks, cruise ships, etc. Despite all of the advantages and all the profit centers that a company like Disney has, what Valiant Renegade is telling you is that they're getting even worse smoked by Netflix because Netflix has none of that stuff in its back pocket, yet is smoking them with super high profit rate as a return on the revenues that they bring in.
Exactly. Netflix is making, in terms of profit, dollar, based not percentages, but in dollars. Netflix is making almost as much profit. Disney about $11 billion, we said, $11 billion in profit for Disney, $12 billion operating income. Just shy of $12 billion for their 2024 fiscal year. Netflix, for its same 2024 fiscal year, made $10.4 billion in operating income. Not that much shy of Disney, and they did it with less than half of the revenue. Less than half. That's crazy.
I really want to point this out. Right now, if you look at DTC for this company, I've got the chart if you want it, but $6 billion in revenue with $300 million of operating income.
Right.
That is a travesty. I wonder how much higher that would be if they just eliminated Disney Plus off the books entirely.
Well, let's see. They'd be about $5 billion better off. The money they have sunk into it, right? We're forgetting all the losses, the $10 billion of cumulative losses in streaming over the years, largely with Disney Plus, overwhelmingly with Disney Plus. And again, we're still not breaking that out. So we can kind of, tinker through this report for a little bit.
And they officially are not breaking that out. They've changed some things on their financial statements here to talk like there's no more combined DTC, meaning Hulu and Disney Plus, and then they throw in ESPN Plus. This looks like they've consolidated it all into a single line item now. So less transparency as they keep going on.
Is that direct to consumer? Is that under the entertainment head, or what is that?
Yes, this is under entertainment.
So then that would just be Hulu and Disney Plus, I think.
I'm not seeing a breakdown for ESPN Plus profitability at this point.
Okay.
So
Usually they have that in the sports. I think they have a new sports segment, right?
All right.
See, entertainment. So direct to consumer right there. Okay, so if that's under entertainment. Now, again, I could be wrong, but this is what Iger explained previously. So direct to consumer, if it's under the entertainment subsection, that's supposed to just be Hulu and D+. Then if you go over to sports, right.
Here you go. Okay. But I don't see DTC listed in there.
I don't know if they break ESPN
Plus
here it is.
Out for no, it goes back to entertainment. So yeah. I'm thinking right now ESPN is that ESPN, the streaming service. I have a suspicion that they're pushing this directly into the direct to consumer line item.
They may be.
Or they're hiding it in entertainment. But this is a mess that if I were their boss, I would want this broken down.
It doesn't really give you a whole lot of information.
No.
Yeah. And I mean, when you consider the number of like unique pieces on Disney Plus that Disney actually creates, there's not a whole lot. They put a tremendous amount of money into a few really big things, and that seems to be about it. Whereas Netflix, it produces way more content for its streaming service than Disney seems to. I think even if you throw Hulu in there, or at least their library and their licensures to go in there, and yet again their profitability is way higher, and the reason for that is that Netflix is able to charge. They're able to continue to increase their fees, and their members stick around because they see a tremendous value in Netflix. People go, we've talked about this before, Jonas, people go to Netflix just to see what's there. They don't need Netflix to go advertise to them, per se, to go watch this new thing coming out Friday. I mean, they do that, but people reflexively, America, the world reflexively goes to Netflix to see what's on it. And then they shop around and they find something to watch. Nobody is logging in to Disney Plus to go see what's on it, unless you're a 5-year-old looking for Bluey reruns. That's about it.
Right.
And that's one of those things to where eventually, if Disney Plus were to ever lose that, because I have to imagine that the next time, unless Disney has a right of first refusal or whatever, but the next time that contract comes up for renewal with the company that actually owns Bluey, people like Amazon and Netflix are definitely going to want to be players in that bidding war. And Disney, frankly, is not going to have the capital to outbid a Google or an Apple or an Amazon. It's not going to happen.
This is the last thing I'll say.
And that will be the end of Disney Plus when that happens. That will be the end of Disney Plus.
I agree. This is 2021. They promised that Disney Plus, Hulu is separated out as a different item. They promised that Disney Plus would be profitable at the end of fiscal 2024. Well, if that's true, they're not telling investors because that is not present. That those figures are not on these financial statements in any way. So they're giving every indication that they're killing Disney Plus, putting that name on Hulu and combining all of that together. So this is a flim-flam game at this point.
It is. The whole thing is it's a scam on the investors, right? And has been since day one, saying that we'll make it. And those of us, stupid YouTubers that have a much better a beat on the pulse of culture out there, saying for years that no, the Disney brand, the Kathleen Kennedy brand of Star Wars is poo, and the audience is leaving. It did. Disney Plus has spent probably close to $2
to $3 billion on Star Wars stuff. 3 seasons of Mandalorian. You've got $600 some odd million just in 2 seasons of Andor alone so far that we know of, thanks to the tax returns filed in the U.S., the financial returns filed in the U.K. $250 million on the Acolyte, maybe another 150 to 200, God knows how much on Skeleton Crew. You got all this other, then you throw in advertising and everything in there. You're talking $2 to $3 billion that Disney has pissed away on Star Wars on Disney Plus, and then you throw in all the Marvel stuff. There's another $3+ billion there because they've made twice as many Marvel shows as Star Wars shows. So you've probably got another $3 billion in Marvel at least. It's just people aren't watching this anymore, and Netflix. If Disney had just sat on it, and again, I go back to somebody asked this question. One of the analysts asked this question on an earnings call probably 2 years ago now, at least 2 years ago, saying, what was the thought process behind, when you started Disney Plus, we kind of thought that Disney it'd be $5 a month and you'd get the library of Disney content. We didn't really envision Disney spending tens of billions of dollars generating brand new proprietary content just for the streaming service and losing its ass.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.